Foolish king. Once upon a time, there was a foolish king who ruled a country. He never liked to learn anything from his childhood, and as a result, he was illiterate. He always gave gold to men who sang praises and poems about him, even if they were not well written. One of his wise ministers planned to correct the king's foolish behavior. He decided to write a poem about the king, but instead of presenting it on paper, he wrote it on a huge rock. When the king saw the poem, he was impressed and wanted to see it. But the minister had a condition. He asked the king if he would give the same amount of gold weight as the material the poem was written on. The king agreed to give the same amount of gold weight, thinking it would be just a small piece of paper. But when he saw that the poem was written on a huge rock, he felt ashamed of himself for not understanding the value of well-written poems. The king apologized to his minister and realized that he needed to learn and educate himself. The wise minister then guided the king to learn step by step and away from his foolishness. From that day on, the king became a learned and wise ruler. He gave importance to education and literature, and his country prospered under his reign. The real king. Once upon a time, there lived a wise man named Birbal, who was famous for his intelligence and wit. His fame had spread all over the world, and even the king of Iran had heard of his cleverness. The king was Akbar's friend and was curious to see if Birbal was as intelligent as people said. So, the king of Iran invited Birbal to his palace to test his intelligence. However, Akbar knew that the king had an ulterior motive, and he warned Birbal before sending him off to Iran. On the day of Birbal's arrival in Iran, the king's minister set up 6 duplicate kings, who all resembled the real king, and they all sat in the palace. When Birbal saw the 7 kings, he was confused and did not know who the real king was. However, Birbal was not one to be easily tricked. He knew that the king was trying to test his intelligence, and he decided to play along. He went straight to the original king and presented him with a gift. Everyone in the palace was surprised at how Birbal had found the real king among the duplicates. Birbal then explained that the original king had the majesty, and that the others were uncomfortable and frequently looked at the real king's face. This is why he had chosen the original king. The king of Iran was impressed with Birbal's intelligence and apologized for testing him. From that day on, the king of Iran and Birbal became good friends, and they often exchanged letters about their respective kingdoms. And so, Birbal's fame continued to spread all over the world, and he remained a beloved figure in history for his wit and intelligence.